Hey everybody, this is Tmika. I am here to do a quick tutorial on how I created this really cute book box that I made. I uploaded a video on this a little bit ago. I'll put the link down below in the description box, but it's just a cute unique way to display some embellishments to give to someone, and then the recipient can then reuse this book box if they'd like. On the right side, I have a 1-inch box, gift box. You can put whatever you want in here. I have a set of gift cards and envelope, or cards and envelope. Has a really cute frame with an acetate window. And then on the left, I have a stack of embellishments. If you're interested in seeing all of the embellishments in the full video, I'll put it in the description box, like I said below. These are super cute, so you guys can check that out. So let's go ahead and get started on making the template for this book box. We're going to start out with some lightweight chipboard, 2 pieces cut at 5 by 7, and then 1 piece cut at 2 1/4 by 7. And this is going to allow us to wrap and have a nice thick base for our book box. So I'm using some white cardstock, 110-pound weight, which I always do. And I know that every time I put it on the camera, it makes it darker, but you know, when I'm making these tutorials, I like to actually use them instead of just making the tutorial and throwing it away. And most of my paper is pastel and shabby, and which matches the white. So sorry about that. But what you want to do is take your cardstock and connect them together. You guys have seen me do this quite a few times, but for the new people, we're just connecting 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, so that we can have a long enough strip to wrap our chipboard. And I use 1-inch tape that my friend Audrey, when her and Cheryl went to the expo, they got the tape for me. So, because I couldn't go, but she was nice enough to grab me some packs. So it's a really good tape, and I like using the wider tape. So I'm just going to add some double-sided tape to the back of this spine. Again, the spine is 2 1/4 by 7, and I'm also going to add it to the back of both of the other chipboard pieces. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be back. So you want to take the backing off of your spine, and you want to line it up with center it with the line that's underneath the bottom, and then you want to also center it in the middle of the page so you have enough fold over left. Really easy. And then you want to add the 2 pieces to the side, giving it just like 1/8 of an inch gap. So I'm going to do that really quick. And again, I just eyeball this. Just a little space is all you need. All right, easy enough. Go ahead and take your pair of scissors and cut off the excess. So this is what you should have. All right, and then you want to take your bone folder and kind of just work it along. I do this when I'm using some really sturdy cardstock. So I just don't want it to, I don't want it to crack and, you know, do a whole bunch of extra stuff. So go ahead and work that around your chipboard. Then we're going to miter our corners, and that's basically just clipping the corners at an angle where the score marks intersect. Right above where they intersect is where you want to cut it. Really easy. This will reduce bulk in your mini album when you fold it over. So after you've done that, you want to go ahead and add tape to all 4 sides of your flaps. So go ahead and remove your tape and fold your flaps over. So I'm just going to remove all of my double-sided tape, and then I use this 1/2-inch tape because my paper is not yet, my overage paper is not yet 1 inch, but it's a little bit more than half. I'm just going to fill in this small little gaps with some 1/4 inch tape by way of my ATG gun. All right, and I'm just going to fold that over, press it down with my bone folder, and I'm going to continue to do that all the way around. All right, this is what you should have so far. Fold it over nice and neat. So you want to take your what you have here, and then just go over in between where your gaps are and fold it over, because what we're going to do now is add some more paper to this. So we're going to add a white cardstock, or whatever cardstock you're using to wrap your chipboard in. I'm going to add mines with white cardstock, and I'm going to fill this in. And the dimensions for this again is 5 by 7, so you can cut it exactly if you want your paper to, you know, be right up to the edge marks, or you can cut it down 1/8 of an inch or so. So I'm going to add paper to this, and I'll be back. All right, you should have your paper all covered on the front and the back of your book, and this is what the width should look like when you're done. Really easy and fun. So if you're going to cover the inside with cardstock, go ahead and do that now, because we're going to make the accordions next. So I am going to be using some Maggie Holmes paper. I'm going to use carousel for this particular book box. So I'm going to layer the inside. Again, the insides are 5 by 7. So if you want to do a little border on that, you can. But yeah, go ahead and add paper to the inside of your book. 5 by 7, 5 by 7, and then 2 1/4 by 7. All right, so I've covered the inside of my book, and it is so adorable. I love this design. It is really, really cute. So that's the inside of that. So let's go ahead and get our pieces together to make the accordion. To make our accordion pieces, you're going to need 3 pieces cut out. First piece is cut at 6 by 7. Then you need one cut at 6 by 5, and then one cut at 6 by 3. Then you want to take your piece and grab your scoreboard. And on the 6-inch side, you want to score at 1/2 inch and then 1 inch. Okay? And then flip it to the opposite side and score it again at 1/2 inch and 1 inch. And then flip it 90 degrees for the bottom, and you want to do the same thing. 1/2 inch and 1 inch. All right? So you want to make all of your score marks on the 6-inch side. 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Then 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, flip it 90 degrees for the bottom, 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch. And you want to do that to the other 2 pieces as well. Only marking on the 6-inch side. So 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, flip it, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and then the bottom, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. All right, so do those 3 pieces and come back. All right, so I have all my pieces scored, and what we're going to do is do some cutting. So there's 2 pieces down here. I'm going to grab my pen and show you guys so you can see it clearly. There is a score mark here, and then there's a score mark here. All right, so what we're going to do is, so there's 2 bottoms. We're just going to slice this last one in half. All right. So let's do that. The last one, just going to slice that in half, lengthways. So then you have these 2 pieces left. Then you want to take your scissors and you want to cut this section all the way off on both sides. The bottom 4 squares, you're going to cut all those off. I'm drawing it because I know it's hard to see white cardstock. So I'm going to cut that off on both sides. All right, so you're left with this. Now what we want to do is angle it. So we're going to cut off, I'm going to grab my ruler. So we're just going to cut off starting from this little corner here, just like so, just that angle, and we're going to do the same thing for the other side. Just a small little sliver. Just like that. On that side, and then we're going to do this side. Okay, so that's what you should have. We're going to do the same thing for this bottom flap. You're just going to cut a little angle off. And this just helps to reduce the bulk that we all love. And we just need a little bit. Like that. Just going to take it and angle it. Alright, so this is what we should have. Now we want to fold this bottom half, the whole thing underneath. Give it a press, and then that other piece we want to fold up. Just that little nub down there. Okay, we want to do the same thing. Fold it down, and then the other piece at the bottom, fold it up. And press it really good with your bone folder. And then down, and then this piece up. So you should have your pocket that looks like this. So repeat that to the other two pieces. All right, I have all of my pieces scored over and folded over. Really, really cute. So you should have pieces that look like this, and they are literally just going to layer on top of each other like that. See how cute that is? If you want to go extra, you can go ahead and angle these. If you don't want to see the, you know, when you turn it up, you kind of can see a little bit of the, not much, but I mean, if that bothers you, go ahead and angle these as well. But it doesn't bother me because you won't see it, in my opinion. It's all going to be flat. So if you want to layer cardstock on top of this, now is the time. So go ahead and measure out the following pieces for your cardstock if you want to do a border. You know, I always do a border with mine. The measurements for this piece is 4 by 6. So of course, do what you want with the border. This is 4 by 4 and this is 4 by 2. So I'm going to layer my paper and I'll be back. All right, so I've layered all of my pieces together, and these patterns are so vibrant. I absolutely love them. So this is how they will look staggered on top of each other. I think it'll look cute on that striped base that I have. So you just want to go ahead and add some tape to the back of the pieces here. It's going to be the back flap of this, this, and this on all of the parts, and then we're going to layer them together. So I'm laying mine on the outer part of the outside piece. If that makes any sense. And I'm going to do both, like I said, both sides and the bottom. And I'm using this red line tape because it's sturdy, but it's thin. And I don't have any thinner tape besides the HEG tape. And I think this red line tape works better. All right, I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to leave you to do the others all by yourself. Okay. So I'm going to take the tape. I'm starting from the bottom. I had a whole song in my head with that one. But I'm starting from the bottom piece and then just layering up from there. Okay. You want to go ahead and make sure everything fits properly. Tuck in those edges. Oh, get on camera. All right. So I'm layering it up with the bottom, with the bottom of this portion here. So I want this all to be lined up exactly. Okay. And then I'm going to tuck this in and squeeze that down. Feel free to use hot glue with this if you feel more secure, of course. So that's that. So now you want to add tape to this one and add it to the top piece. I'm going to fold this in, line up my bottoms. Okay, go ahead and lay that down. And I'm going to line this up to my side, making sure these tabs are in tightly and evenly. There we go. Now we want to add tape to the last piece so we can attach it to our book box. All right, so I've added the tape to the back. So I'm just going to set that aside for a second because we're going to work on our closure piece if you're going to do it the way that I did it. You can always, at this moment, you can add some double-sided tape around the perimeter of the box and add some ribbon. So you would add the ribbon around and you can use your closure piece that way. But I'm going to use a brad and an eyelet and just a binder, a rubber band, a hair binder to close my book up. So I'm going to grab these items that I'll need to get this taken care of. All right, so I'm going to use my crocodile. I'm going to use some eyelets, and then I'm going to use some brads. And then I have this rubber band, this hair tie, and I have it in blue too. I think the pink will work because if I use these color eyelets, that those are two different blues. It just won't look right. So this matches this perfectly. And then there's some other pinks and stuff that I'm going to use in the paper. So since this is a colorful book, we're going to go with those two colors. So you just want to measure where you want your eyelet to go, your closure to be. So I'm going to use the larger end, and then I'm just going to measure. I literally just eyeball it, but you can, if you want, you can get a pen or pencil and mark like the center. You can even measure the center, so of where you want this. So that's 7. The center would be 3.5. So my mark would be right about there, which is where I was going to put it at in the first place. So somewhere around there. All right. And we want to get, you want to make sure you get it closer to the edge, because you got to add your accordion on the inside. You don't want that to interfere. So I just see how far my little ring will go over without going over. And then I'll put my dot. Oh dear, come on here. All right. All right. I just pressed it down to make a mark. That was so much easier. And then I'm going to punch my hole right there. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, just so it can be even. All right, so I got that. And I got my 3.5 inch mark right about there. Made a little impression. And oh gosh, I wish they developed something that would allow this to automatically dispense instead of having to fool with this every time you cut a piece of paper. All right. There we go. That's the front and the back. Okay, so now you have 2 even holes. Awesome. So now you want to go ahead and lay your paper down on the front and the back, and then we're going to repunch our holes and then go ahead and add the fasteners to it. So I'm going to lay my paper down. All right, so that's all completed. So now you want to go ahead and get your elastic binder or your elastic or your string. You can even tie string and then wrap that around. Totally up to you. So I'm going to feed this through the back from the inside, and I have to use a little bit of glue to kind of keep that from going back in there, just to block it. Or you can knot and punch a little hole and cover the whole thing up like what I did with this one here. So totally up to you. I'm going to go ahead and add a little hot glue here, trying to be careful not to get it on anything else. So I'm going to get it exactly how I want it to lay, and I'm going to add a dot of hot glue in there and pull it down and hold it. Just hold it there. That's on there, not going anywhere. I'm going to clean this up, make sure I get all these little bits off. And then that's all you have to do. Put that right on top. Easy peasy. So, but we do have to cover this up so we can make sure that that eyelet doesn't escape or move at any point. So I'm just going to add some hot glue to this little strip of paper. Try not to burn myself. And then I'm going to lay it right on top. And that's hot. This is a high temp glue gun, and it's very hot. So I'm just babying it, get it to mold over really well. And then now we can add that right on top. That's our closure piece. So now we can add our accordion. And if you want, you can try to center that where you cover that up, but I'm okay with where it is. So I am going to lay this down just like so. Sidebar, a better way to cover that eyelet is to add your top pattern piece of paper to the front first, then add the inside, and that will cover it all in one swoop. Okay, give that a good press. Make sure that it adheres. Feel free to add a little hot glue if you'd like to your sides. And then I'm going to lay this down here. There we go. How cute is that? How stinking cute is that? All right. So now let's do our box. All right, so for our box pieces, we'll need 2 pieces. For our base, we'll need one cut at 6 by 8 and one cut at 1/8 of an inch larger. So 6 1/8 by 8 1/8. You want to go ahead, grab your bone folder and your scoreboard. So the only thing you need to do is score 1 inch on all 4 sides of both pieces. Really easy. 1 inch all the way around. Do that to your other piece. All right, we're going to take our box piece, the box part, not the lid. That's the one that's 6 by 8, and we're going to fold over all of our edges and give it a good press. All right, if you are wanting to cover the inside, this perimeter is 4 by 6, and of course it's 1 inch all the way around. So if you want to go ahead and cut some cardstock out, so all you want to do is cut at your score marks lengthways. Flip it to the other side and do the same thing. You're just cutting on the score mark to the score mark. Okay. And then you want to go ahead and fold these little tabs up because they're going to close in like so. And you want to add glue to the back of your tabs. So I went ahead and added paper to the inside of my box. This is using the digital paper that I have, so the print's a little bit smaller. So I went ahead and covered that on the inside. That's 4 by 6. And then we have the cover here. So I cut down a piece of cardstock to 4 by 6 to fit right in the center of this square, just so I can have a little border. So I'm going to center that the best way that I can. And then I'm going to lay my die across where I want it to be, and I'm going to run this through my cutting machine. If you want to do another piece on the underside, go ahead and stack that up, but flip it upside down so that it'll be the right side underneath. Like if you want a pattern under here, you would cut another piece instead of having it laid on top, you know, 4 by 6 on top of here like this. You want to flip it upside down and cut it, run it through. That way it fits under there nicely. So I hope you guys understand. I'm just going to do 1 layer right now on here. Let me think. Am I going to do 1 layer? Yeah, I'm just going to do the top layer for this one. So I'm going to match that back up. If you don't feel safe, you think you're going to move, add a little bit of washi tape on there to hold it. So this is how I'm going to layer my die. And I'm going to go ahead and run it through my machine right now. All right, I ran my die across. I ran it through twice, just make sure everything was going to cut out. And you have your little extra pieces if you want to use those for something else. And then this will lay right on top. Super cute for a really fun window. So I'm going to grab some laminating sheets. I get these from the Dollar Tree. And you get 5 for $1. And they're really tiny. They're small. 4 by 6 or 5 by 7. Well, they're 4 by 6, maybe a little bit bigger. Doesn't matter. I'm going to cut it down so that it fits the size of this window. All right, I cut my window down to 3 3/4 by 5, and that is enough to cover the perimeter of my frame here. So I'm going to add some red line tape to my topper, and then I'm going to add my acetate window. All right, I've added the acetate to my frame, and then that's what that looks like on the back. Nobody's going to see that. So I'm going to add this to the frame on here. All right, so I've added my tape to the back, and I'm just going to line it up with the frame. Perfect. Love it. So now you want to do the same thing you did to the bottom box, and that's cutting at the score marks, from on the score mark to the score mark. All right, I'm going to fold that over. All of the score marks. And I'm just going to give it a good press. I love myself a nice crisp box. Okay. And then you want to fold these in, add glue to the tabs, and go ahead and adhere it together. One thing I wanted to mention, that if you're folding it over and your tabs are poking out the top, you know, just that little piece that you don't like, go ahead and give it a good angle slit, just like that, right at the top, so that piece won't hang over, and then add your glue. That will eliminate that little piece from poking out. See? All right, we are all done. This is super cute. I got a random glue string. I love it. And this Ferris wheel has little tiny flowers on the inside that are the same color as this, so it works perfectly. Now, perfect fit for the box. Now, feel free to add some paper along the edges of this box if you like, to give it an extra color. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and I got some of this download paper left, or digital paper left. I'm just going to cut it down to 7/8 of an inch. All right, so there we go. I've covered the sides of the box. So you need 2 strips at 4 by 1 and 2 at 6 by 1. So pretty. I love it. So what I'm going to do is take this lid off, and we're going to add some hot glue to the back of the box, and we're going to lay it down. So I want to get prepared, make sure that I know exactly where I'm putting this at. Right there. So I'm going to add hot glue to the back, and I'm going to lay it down. Trying to make it even with, as far as length with this. So that's on there. Let's find my bone folder. And I'm just gonna get that glue melded in there. And there we go. Look how cute it is! Look how cute it is! Of course, it's bent in because we don't have any embellishments in there. But pretty soon it'll be nice and fluffy. And that is what we have here, ladies and gentlemen, all complete. So I will be filling this up with some goodies, making some handmade goodies, and I will be recording it so we can finish off the inside and then the cover. So, but for now, that's the end of this tutorial. I'll label it part 1, so it is to be continued. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and will make it yourself. If you have any questions below, if you have any questions, leave them below and I'll answer them. All right, guys, thank you for watching, liking, and commenting, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.